The Horizon Event. The vast blackness of space stretched like an endless ocean before the viewport of the HSV Horizon. Captain Mira Chen stood with her hands clasped behind her back, dark eyes reflecting the distant stars as they glittered against the void. Her vessel was humanity's crowning achievement, a technological marvel disguised as a diplomatic ship. The Horizon represented Earth's first official venture beyond the boundaries of their solar system, but it carried secrets that had been decades in the making. Approaching the designated coordinates, Captain announced Lieutenant Park from the navigation console. ETA 3 minutes to the Zendari border. Chen nodded. Intelligence reports had confirmed that the Zendari Dominion controlled this sector, a sprawling empire that had subjugated 12 other species over the past century. Humanity had detected their transmissions years ago, learning their language and studying their culture long before making their presence known. All systems optimal, reported Commander Elayimi, her first officer. Defense grid on standby. Quantum cloaking disengaged as ordered. Good, Chen replied. Let's make a proper entrance. She straightened her midnight blue uniform, the silver Earth insignia gleaming on her chest. Open broadcast channels on all frequencies the Zendari use. Let's announce ourselves. Within moments, the sensors lit up as 3 Zendari patrol vessels emerged from hyperspace barely 2,000 kilometers from the Horizon's position. Their ships resembled massive arrowheads, bronze-colored hulls adorned with what humans had identified as ceremonial markings of conquest. Incoming transmission, announced Communications Officer Rivera. Audio and visual. On screen, Chen ordered. The main display flickered to life, revealing the Zendari commander. The alien had iridescent green scales covering a humanoid face, 6 eyes arranged in a hexagonal pattern, and a crest of feather-like appendages that rose in what intelligence suggested was an aggressive display. Unknown vessel, the Zendari spoke, their translator converting their clicks and hisses into English. You have entered Dominion space without authorization. Identify yourself and prepare to be boarded for inspection. Captain Chen stepped forward. This is Captain Mira Chen of the human starship Venture Horizon. We come from Earth with peaceful intentions and wish to establish diplomatic relations with the Zendari Dominion. The Zendari commander's crest flattened slightly. Surprise. Humans? We have no record of your species in our database. That's because we've been observing from a distance, Chen replied coolly. We believe in understanding potential allies before making contact. Allies? The commander's voice carried what might have been amusement. The Dominion does not ally with unknown species. You will submit to boarding and assessment. If your species is deemed worthy, you may be granted protectorate status under our benevolent rule. Chen's expression remained neutral, though those who knew her well could see the slight tightening around her eyes. I'm afraid that won't be possible, Commander. We don't submit to boarding or rule by other species. We're here to establish relations as equals. The Zendari's crest rose fully erect. Equality is earned in the Dominion, human. Your single ship does not merit such consideration. You will comply or face immediate destruction. On the bridge of the Zendari command vessel, High Commander Vextrol watched the human captain with contempt. These primitives with their soft skin and fragile ship dared to speak of equality. The Dominion had conquered worlds far more advanced than whatever backwater planet had spawned this species. Tactical analysis, he ordered his science officer. The human vessel appears to use conventional propulsion systems, though of unfamiliar design, reported Science Officer Zexora. Their hull composition is unusual, some form of composite material our scanners cannot fully penetrate. Energy readings are inconsistent. Her voice faltered slightly. Explain, Vextrol demanded. Their power signatures fluctuate in patterns that defy conventional physics, High Commander. It's as if they're deliberately masking their capabilities. Vextrol narrowed his eyes. A primitive deception. Deploy the subjugation fleet. Standard formation. Within minutes, 15 more Zendari warships emerged from hyperspace, surrounding the lone human vessel in a spherical formation designed to prevent escape. Each Dominion warship carried enough firepower to level a small continent. Captain Chen watched calmly as the Zendari fleet materialized around the horizon. "Quite the welcome party," she remarked. "Status report. 16 Zendari vessels have us surrounded," reported Tactical Officer Washington. "Their weapons are charging, but not yet locked. They're transmitting among themselves on encrypted channels." "Let them talk," Chen said. "Maintain our current posture. No defensive measures yet." Commander Adeyemi moved closer to Chen. "They're underestimating us," she whispered. "As expected," Chen replied quietly. "They see what they want to see. A species venturing beyond their cradle for the first time, naive and vulnerable." The main screen flickered as High Commander Vex Troll appeared once more. "Captain Chen of Earth, you are surrounded by the might of the Dominion. Your defiance, while admirable, is futile. Power down your systems and prepare for boarding. Your species will be evaluated and assigned appropriate status within our empire." Chen smiled slightly. "Before we continue this conversation, High Commander, I think a proper introduction is in order. Humanity has studied the Zendari Dominion for over 50 years. We're familiar with your pattern of conquest, your technological capabilities, and your hierarchical structure." Vextral's crest fluttered in what intelligence had identified as confusion. "Impossible. Our scout vessels would have detected your observation posts." "Not if we didn't want to be found," Chen replied. "Humanity has followed a different path than most spacefaring species. We developed in isolation, perfecting technologies that others might consider unconventional. Your primitive deception does not impress us, human," Vex Troll hissed. "Your single vessel against our fleet proves your species' inferiority." "Does it?" Chen nodded to her tactical officer. "Mr. Washington, please disengage our hull camouflage." Across the bridge of every Zendari vessel, alarms suddenly blared as their sensors detected a massive change in the human ship. What had appeared to be a relatively small diplomatic vessel was transforming before their eyes. The outer layer of the hull seemed to melt away, revealing the true form of the horizon. A massive dreadnought nearly twice the size of the largest Zendari warship. "By the first egg," whispered a Zendari officer on the command deck. "What devilry is this?" The horizon's true form was magnificent and terrifying. Multiple weapon ports emerged along its gleaming obsidian hull. The ship seemed to absorb the very light around it, its edges almost blurring as if it existed partially in another dimension. "High Commander," Science Officer Zexora's voice trembled. "Energy readings from the human vessel have increased exponentially. They're operating on principles I cannot comprehend. Their power core, it shouldn't be possible." High Commander Vextrol struggled to maintain his composure. "Explain yourself, human." "The vessel you initially scanned was merely a facade," Captain Chen explained calmly. "The horizon is humanity's first official interstellar embassy, but it's also a demonstration of our capabilities. We wanted to see how you would respond to a seemingly less advanced species. Your response has been educational." "You deceived us deliberately," Vextrol accused. "We revealed only what we chose to reveal," Chen corrected. "A standard practice in your dominion. I understand. Now let me be clear about our position. Earth does not seek conquest. We don't wish to subjugate other species or impose our will on the galaxy, but neither will we be conquered or controlled." The bridge of the horizon hummed with tension as the crew waited for the Zendari response. Chen could see the calculations happening behind the High Commander's 6 eyes, assessing the threat, weighing options, considering the implications. "Our sensors detect weapons unlike anything in our database," Vextrol finally said. "What are your intentions, human?" "To open diplomatic relations with all spacefaring species, including the Zendari Dominion, as equals," Chen replied. "To trade knowledge and resources peacefully. To explore this galaxy without conquest or subjugation." "The Dominion has stood for 10,000 cycles," Vextrol said, his voice hardening. "We do not change our ways for newcomers, regardless of their technological tricks." Captain Chen's expression remained impassive. Then perhaps a demonstration is in order. She nodded to Commander Adayemi. Target the uninhabited moon of the fifth planet in this system. Target acquired. Washington confirmed. Fire a single pulse from the Casimir array, Chen ordered. The horizon hummed as energy gathered around a single point on its hull. A beam of blinding white light shot forth, traveling the vast distance to the designated moon in seconds. Upon impact, the entire celestial body, nearly the size of Earth's Mars, shattered into billions of fragments. Silence fell across all communication channels as the Zendari witnessed the unprecedented display of power. A weapon that could destroy a moon with a single shot was beyond anything in their arsenal. That, Captain Chen said into the stunned silence, was approximately 5% of our maximum weapons capability. We could have targeted any of your vessels with the same result. High Commander Vextrol's crest lay completely flat against his skull, a sign of submission in Zendari body language. What do you want from us? A new beginning, Chen answered. The Zendari Dominion will cease its conquest of other species. You will grant independence to all subjugated worlds and establish a council where all species have equal representation. In return, humanity will share some of our technological advances for peaceful purposes only. And if we refuse, Vextrol challenged, though the fight had left his voice. Captain Chen's gaze hardened. Then humanity will be forced to intervene more directly to protect the rights of all sentient beings in this sector. We would prefer not to, but make no mistake, we will not stand by while others are oppressed. The ultimatum hung in the vacuum between the ships as the mighty Zendari Dominion faced humanity's arrival on the galactic stage, not as supplicants or equals, but as a power beyond their comprehension. The reckoning. The grand chamber of the Zendari Dominion pulsed with agitation. 16 high counselors, each representing a major house of the empire, surrounded Supreme Overlord Zivex as reports from the border incident flowed in. The massive holographic display in the center of the circular room showed the human vessel Horizon, its true form now revealed in all its imposing glory. This cannot stand, declared Councillor Couture, his crest fully extended in rage. One ship, one species, does not dictate terms to the Dominion. Supreme Overlord Zivex, oldest and most decorated of all Zendari, raised a gnarled hand for silence. Unlike the others, his crest remained flat, not in submission, but in calculation. High Commander Vextrol, he addressed the holographic projection of the fleet commander. Your assessment of the human capabilities, are they genuine? Vextrol's image flickered slightly. Supreme Overlord, I have personally witnessed their weapon destroy satellite D-419, a moon of significant size, with a single shot. Our senior scientists confirm this is beyond our current technological understanding. Could it be deception? A localized spatial distortion, rather than actual destructive capability? Asked Science Prime Zizera. We have analyzed the debris field extensively, Vextrol replied. The destruction was complete and real. Furthermore, our deep scans of their vessel, limited as they are by their defensive measures, indicate energy patterns unlike anything in our records. Zivex leaned forward, his ancient eyes narrowing. And their ultimatum, they demand we release all protectorate worlds. They call them subjugated, Supreme Overlord, Vextrol corrected hesitantly. And yes, they demand equal status for all species under Dominion control. The chamber erupted in outrage, but Zivex again raised his hand. Silence. I would hear the conclusion of your tactical analysis, High Commander. Vextrol straightened, recognizing the gravity of this moment. Supreme Overlord, the human vessel could have destroyed our entire fleet. They chose not to. Their technology appears to be at least 3 evolutionary cycles beyond our own. Conventional military response would be ineffective. The admission settled over the chamber like a shroud. What do we know of their homeworld? Zivex asked. Science Prime Zizera touched her console, bringing up astronomical data. We have traced their trajectory to a yellow star system approximately 40 light-years from our border. Preliminary data suggests a water-rich planet with diverse biospheres, nothing exceptional to explain their technological advancement. Yet they have achieved what we have not in 10,000 cycles, Zivex mused. Fascinating. On Earth, in the subterranean complex beneath the Olympus Mountains, Director Ileana Reyes stood before the Global Defense Council. Holographic displays showed the ongoing standoff between the Horizon and the Zendari fleet. The first contact scenario is proceeding as anticipated, she reported. The Zendari have responded with predictable aggression followed by strategic reassessment. And Captain Chen's demonstration? Asked Counselor Wei. Precise and measured, Reyes confirmed. The destruction of the uninhabited moon has communicated our technological advantage without causing loss of life. Counselor Okafor leaned forward. Some might question our approach, showing such overwhelming force from the outset rather than seeking more diplomatic first contact. Reyes nodded. Our psychological profile of the Zendari indicates they respect strength above all else. Had we appeared weak, they would have attempted immediate subjugation as they've done with 12 other species. Our approach is tailored to their cultural framework. And the other species under Zendari control? Asked Counselor Martinez. Already responding, Reyes replied, bringing up new data. We're detecting increased communications between subjugated worlds. News of the Horizon's demonstration is spreading rapidly despite Zendari censorship attempts. Back on the Horizon, Captain Chen watched as the Zendari fleet maintained its position, but had powered down weapons systems. 6 hours had passed since her ultimatum, and the Dominion leadership was doubtless in emergency session. They're stalling. Commander Adeyemi observed. They're adapting, Chen corrected. Trying to find an angle that preserves their power while accommodating our demands. It's what any empire would do. Captain, called Lieutenant Rivera. We're receiving transmissions from non-Zendari sources. Multiple frequencies, multiple languages. Chen raised an eyebrow. Put them through to my ready room. I want to hear what the other species in this sector have to say. As Chen departed, Commander Adeyemi took command of the bridge. The tension among the crew had shifted from apprehension to watchful readiness. Despite facing a fleet that outnumbered them 16-1, they knew the true balance of power. In the Supreme Overlord's private sanctum, Zivex consulted with his most trusted advisor, master strategist Xantor. Ancient artifacts from conquered worlds surrounded them, trophies of 10 millennia of Zendari expansion. The humans have made a critical error, Xantor said, his voice low and raspy. By revealing their technological superiority so openly, they have made themselves a target for the entire galaxy. Not just us, but the Vrand Collective, the Mezari Confluence. All will see them as a threat to the established order. Zivex considered this, or perhaps they are so confident in their capabilities that they fear no alliance against them. Consider, they have observed us for decades without detection. What else might they be capable of that they have not yet revealed? What do you propose, Supreme Overlord? Xantor asked. We must test them, Zivex decided. Not their weapons, but their resolve. Their ethics. He touched a communication panel. Prepare Strike Group Epsilon for immediate action. Target, the human chip. On the bridge of the Horizon, alarms blared as sensors detected energy buildups across the Zendari fleet. Multiple vessels charging weapons, Washington reported. Detecting spatial distortions consistent with additional ships arriving via hyperspace. Commander Adeyemi's fingers flew across her console. Captain to the bridge, she called over the intercom. Then to the tactical officer. Raise shields. Power defense grid to full capacity. Do not return fire without direct order. Chen arrived moments later, taking in the situation at a glance. They're testing us, she observed calmly. Let's see what they have in mind. Without warning, 12 additional Zendari warships emerged from hyperspace directly behind the Horizon, a position that would have been a blind spot for most vessels. Their weapons fired immediately, unleashing a barrage of high-energy plasma bolts designed to overwhelm shields through sheer volume of fire. The impacts never came. Instead, the bolts seemed to slow as they approached the horizon, coming to a complete stop mere meters from the hull, suspended in space like frozen fireflies. Temporal defense field functioning within parameters, reported Washington, a hint of pride in his voice. Zero shield degradation. The Zendari attack continued for 20 seconds before they realized their weapons were having no effect. The suspended plasma bolts hung in space around the horizon like a deadly corona. "Open a channel to High Commander Vextrol," Chen ordered. The Zendari commander appeared on screen, his crest alternating between aggressive display and confusion. "How?" he began. "Your attack has been noted," Chen interrupted coldly, "as has your Supreme Overlord's duplicity. We came in peace, demonstrated our capabilities without harming any of your people, and this is your response." "We merely—" "Mr. Washington," Chen said without taking her eyes off the Zendari commander, "return their weapons fire. Precision targeting. Propulsion systems only." With a nod, Washington entered commands into his console. The suspended plasma bolts suddenly reversed direction, each one streaking back to its point of origin with impossible accuracy. Throughout the Zendari fleet, engines and maneuvering thrusters exploded as their own weapons fire struck with surgical precision. 28 Zendari vessels now drifted powerless in space, life support and artificial gravity their only functioning systems. "This encounter is over," Captain Chen declared. "You will return to your capital and deliver our terms to your Supreme Overlord. The era of Zendari dominance has ended. A new coalition of equals will take its place, with or without your participation." The Zendari didn't just conquer these species, Rivera realized. They're using them as forced labor aboard their own ships. Chen's expression hardened. "This changes things. Commander Adeyemi, prepare boarding parties. We're going to offer assistance to those people." Over the next 24 hours, the true nature of the Zendari Dominion was revealed. Representatives from 7 different species came aboard the horizon, telling stories of generations of enslavement, genetic experimentation, and cultural suppression. The Dominion's vaunted protectorates were little more than resource extraction operations built on the backs of conquered peoples. In her ready room, Captain Chen composed her report to Earth with grim determination. The first contact mission had revealed a galactic neighborhood in need of intervention far beyond what had been anticipated. A soft chime interrupted her thoughts. "Captain," came Rivera's voice. "Priority transmission from the Zendari capital. It's Supreme Overlord Zivex himself." "Put it through," Chen ordered, steeling herself. The ancient Zendari leader appeared on her screen, his scaled face a mask of controlled dignity. "Captain Chen of Earth," he began, his voice surprisingly soft. "Events have progressed rapidly since your arrival." "They have indeed, Supreme Overlord," Chen replied neutrally. "I have reviewed your terms," Zivex continued. "The immediacy of your timeline would bring chaos to hundreds of worlds. Change must come, but it must come with order." Chen leaned forward. "The beings you've enslaved might disagree about the value of order over freedom." "Perhaps," Zivex acknowledged, surprising her. "But consider this. The Dominion structure, however flawed, provides stability in a sector plagued by resource conflicts and territorial disputes for millennia before our rise. Immediate dissolution would create a power vacuum that could trigger wars on a scale you cannot imagine." Chen considered his words carefully. This was not the outright rejection she had expected. "What are you proposing, Supreme Overlord?" "A transition," Zivex replied. "Supervised by Earth if you wish. Gradual liberation of all subjugated peoples. Establishment of an interim council with representatives from all species. Technology sharing and reparations programs." "And the Zendari position in this new arrangement?" Chen asked skeptically. "Equal to all others," Zivex said. "No more, no less. The age of the Dominion is ending. That much is clear. The question is whether it ends in chaos or transformation. Captain Chen studied the ancient ruler's face, searching for deception. You adapt quickly, Supreme Overlord. One does not lead an empire for 300 cycles without recognizing when the winds have changed direction. Zivex replied with what might have been a smile. I would rather be remembered as the last Supreme Overlord who embraced a new future than the one who destroyed his people through pride. 3 days later, on the newly established neutral ground station, a massive space habitat rapidly constructed by the Horizon's advanced fabrication systems, representatives from 14 species gathered for the first meeting of the Galactic Transitional Council. Captain Chen stood at the center of the circular chamber, facing delegates from worlds that had been enemies or oppressors and victims mere days before. The path forward will not be easy, she addressed them. Centuries of dominance and subjugation have created deep wounds. But Earth stands ready to assist in this transition, not as rulers or saviors, but as partners in building something new. As she spoke, Chen couldn't help but reflect on humanity's own violent history, how close they had come to destroying themselves before finally turning their ingenuity toward cooperation and advancement. The technologies that had so awed the Zendari had been born from that transformation. We reveal ourselves to the galaxy not to conquer or control, she continued, but because we believe all sentient beings deserve the freedom to determine their own destiny. The Horizon is just the first embassy of Earth. Others will follow, bringing knowledge, resources, and partnership to any who wish to join us in peaceful exploration of this vast universe. As the delegates began their deliberations, Commander Adeyemi approached Chen quietly. Quite the first contact mission, Captain, she murmured. Not exactly what Mission Control had in mind. Chen smiled slightly. On the contrary, Commander. Humanity hoped for peace but prepared for every contingency. We came ready to meet the galaxy as we found it, not as we wished it to be. Beyond the station viewport, the stars shimmered against the backdrop of space. Countless worlds waiting to be discovered, challenges to be faced, and possibilities to be explored. Humanity had stepped onto the galactic stage, not as supplicants or conquerors, but as harbingers of change.